Hello, fearless listeners and viewers. Welcome to the Diaries of Badass Bosses podcast. I'm Penny Joyner-Platt.
And I am Tigz Rice.
And we are back for season 2. Welcome. We're going to dive deep into the lives of extraordinary individuals who redefine what it means to be a boss.
That's right. This season we have lined up a stellar cast of guests who have shattered glass ceilings, forged their own paths, and inspired change in their respective fields.
I mean, we're not talking about traditional CEOs here. Our guests include entrepreneurs from a wide range of industries, making waves, challenging the status quo, and sharing their stories behind their journeys.
So whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, a budding leader, or simply someone who loves hearing about tales of triumph over adversity, then you're in the right place. This is where stories of badass bosses come to life.
And as always, we are joined by our incredible producer, Conor Wells, who always makes sure every episode is an auditory masterpiece.
Thank you, Penny and Tigz. I am thrilled to be back for another incredible series of inspiring stories and unforgettable moments. Get ready for an absolutely incredible ride.
So stay tuned as we embark on this journey to explore the lives, dreams, and fearless endeavours of some of the most badass bosses out there.
Buckle up, because season 2 of Diaries of Badass Bosses is about to begin. Welcome to Diaries of Badass Bosses podcast. We're back! I am so excited! Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining us. This is season 2.
I am so excited. I have been waiting. We've had this in the diary since the end of season 1. We had dates in.
Yeah.
We had
guests booked.
Yeah. So the day is finally here.
We had so much fun in season 1. We didn't want to leave you hanging. So we've decided to pull together another amazing batch of wonderful entrepreneurs, trailblazers, people who really are breaking the mold. We've also, as promised, upgraded the shoe. Yes. So those of you who are only listening and not watching on YouTube, I'm going to describe it. It's somewhat Barbie-esque, I'm going to say.
It's very on trend. It's very
so
on trend.
on
Actually,
trend.
with your entire outfit today, because you have shown up so branded.
I am so pink. The lips are pink. The dress is pink. I'm pink. The shoe is a platform. Mm-hmm. I did manage to get it in my size as well, just in case, I wanted to use them again.
Handy.
But we've branded it this time, so we've gone up a level.
We're on the high street now.
We are on the high street. It's New Look. So thank you so much, New Look, in the sale. And as promised, as we said, each season we're going to upgrade the shoe as we get bigger and better at what we're doing.
Yes. So a little reminder of what the shoe is and why we have a shoe in the middle of the table. The shoe is our shoe of silence, which is a little thing we have on the podcast that stems back from an emoji that I used to have with a friend when we were talking business chat. And we used to have the pineapple of pause emoji that meant that we wouldn't chat about that subject. We'd come back to it later. So the shoe of silence, as a reminder, or if you're new to season 2, is an opportunity for any of us around the table, if something gets a little too heavy or touches on a subject that we maybe don't want to talk about in the moment, we can pick up the shoe of silence. Maybe not throw it at each other, but we can pick it up and use it if we need to.
Yes, no injuries, please, during the filming of this podcast. So what I want to find out is what you've been up to, both of you. Conor, hiding in the corner there.
Hello, I am on iPhone today. Good to be back. Welcome back to Coast Base, ladies. Hope you've been good. Hope you've been good. It's been a busy few weeks. We've been planning pods and roll on season 2.
Fabulous. Tigz, what have you been up to, love?
Oh gosh. Well, I have been working on my brand visibility. So I've been showing up. I've been growing my TikTok lately with a little bit of help from Conor.
Internet sensation.
Yeah, I know. Do you know, we'll be talking about this a lot over the coming weeks because brand visibility and showing up for yourself is going to be a really hot topic this season. Ooh, yeah. So we'll probably get into that in one of the other episodes anyway. But yeah, so showing up there. And also, I launched a new service where I've started offering brand mentoring for photographers. So I've been offering one-to-one services, helping people with their portfolio reviews and their website reviews, and also teaching sort of photography and putting together workshops and allowing people to develop their work underneath a watchful eye. So yeah, it's been going really well. And you, of course, you've been smashing it. Tell us what you've been up to.
Well, Conor and I have decided that we're going to join forces. We're offering a wonderful podcast package now.
Absolutely.
Because we do understand the importance as much as we have our own podcast. But for my clients as well, the media landscape's changed so much. And we kind of want to help support people who want a podcast, because a lot of people have actually started a podcast and then stopped, not carried it on. In fact, if you actually record over 20 episodes of a podcast, you're in the top 1% in the world for podcasting. So by the end of season 2, we're going to be in that top 1%.
That doesn't seem like a lot, does it?
No.
It really doesn't. I mean,
it
that's
can
2
easily be
seasons
done
for
as well.
us.
Yeah, there's only 250,000 active podcasters in the world, which is actually where YouTube was in 2007. So if you're not doing a podcast, or you haven't got a podcast, or you're not being a guest on a podcast, do it, because you could be the next best thing in podcasting. So
you could be the next Joe Rogan. You could be the next Alex Cooper. Like
you could be the next Diary of Badass Bosses guest.
Yes,
Literally.
exactly.
Casting for season 3.
Yeah. But that's why we did this package, so that we're actually helping our clients set up their own podcast. So we come with the kit, we help PR it, we help the creative, get the guests, and just do everything for you, basically. So
all you've got to do is turn up and talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's a great way to showcase your brand and your business. So, so that's what we've been doing. And I've just been immersing myself in everything podcast, basically. So it's even nice now to be back in front of the mic as well.
Links will be in the description for all the information about that as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, everything in the show notes.
If you're interested, for sure, get in touch with us. The-platform.com. Going to plug that just right there.
Perfect. Well, we've got a fantastic guest
lined
up who is no stranger to the world of visibility either. So cannot wait.
She knows how to show up. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Absolutely. As the founder of Your Divorce Coach, Nawal Houghton, a qualified solicitor and accredited mediator, combines her legal prowess and mediation skills to provide tailored support to her clients, specialises in the intricate dynamics of divorcing from narcissistic partners. Wow. It's going to be such an interesting one today. Nawal's relationship role as a divorce coach extends far beyond legalities. She serves as a personal mentor, bridging the gap between the law and emotional well-being of her clients. Whether it's before, during, or after the divorce, Nawal's unwavering support and guidance empowers individuals to overcome challenges and embrace new beginnings. Through her remarkable expertise and compassionate approach, Nawal has steered countless individuals away from the clutches of narcissistic partners, enabling them to reclaim their lives. Her unwavering commitment to her clients' success has earned her the reputation of being an invaluable resource in the realm of divorce and separation.
That's wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. I need to remind myself of that intro. I don't think I read it enough. It's nice.
You just hire me to walk around and just introduce you to a room.
That sounds good to me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us your origin story. How did you end up becoming a divorce coach?
Ah, yes. I think it's that classic tale of lemons making lemonade. I'm a lawyer, you know. I was doing that whole kind of mum thing. Went through a very tricky divorce with my boy's father, and in that divorce sort of process, realising there was nothing out there that could really guide me on that emotional side. You know, I was dealing with someone clearly narcissistic, but that, you know, you'd Google the behaviour, there was nothing kind of really out there. And, you know, got through the legal process on my own as a lawyer, was able to sort of, you know, guide myself, but using lawyers also. And then I kind of thought, you know, God, there's nothing really out there that gives you that support. And I was working still, and then people would refer me, they'd say, oh, look, if you're going through a divorce, you've got to talk to Nawal. Talk to Nawal, she'll help you. So I kind of did it sort of almost part-time or on a friend sort of basis. Then I started to incorporate it in my work life, in that I was working part-time as an in-house lawyer, and I started doing this sort of on a Friday, and then COVID happened. Da, 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 da. And literally, I think, you know, for so many, COVID was good, bad, a mixture. I think for me, on a business sort of level, it was life-changing. It enabled me to increase my visibility, as you said, on social media and just talk about narcissism, divorce, how tricky it was. And literally, and I say this all the time, it just blew up. It was the responses that I was getting, and I just kept posting. And then I did that big, girl pants thing where you go, and now I'm going to do it all the time. And so that is why I do what I do, and it's how I've come to do it. I just took the plunge and made it my business, my thing.
Incredible.
That sounds good to me. So you already had a background, like you said, in law. So that kind of, that light bulb moment, for you was like, I'm ready now. Like, what did it mean to you that you were brave enough to even say, I'm like, gonna switch up?
I think it was the feedback. It's quite interesting. I'm quite unique in what I do. I mean, there are loads of divorce coaches out there. That it's actually something that started in America, and slowly the divorce coach theme word is coming into the UK. But where I'm unique is that I'm a lawyer and an accredited mediator. And what people were noticing is that it wasn't just the emotional support that I was giving you and talking to you about children and how to cope with sort of someone narcissistic. It was really talking about the divorce process. It was, this is how they're going to weaponize. This is how they're going to hide money. This is how they're going to make it difficult. This is how they'll increase the abuse. And it was that alongside the divorce process that people were like, oh my God, there's no one else that I can talk to about this. And that for me was just this moment of, this is so unique, there's nothing out there. And to say that I Googled when I was divorcing meant I was lucky that I found one small trait of like narcissism and followed it a little bit. But this was like nearly 10 years ago. Wow. The word narcissism now, huge, right? It's like the buzz, one of the big buzzwords. Back then, not at all. And I sort of thought to myself, I don't want anyone to feel like I did, which was completely lost. And lawyers not understanding how to deal with someone so manipulative, or dealing with someone that is tantamount to never compromising, never coming to the table, making it as difficult as possible. And I just love helping people in that situation because I know what it feels like. My children were 8 months and 3 years. Bless you. Yeah, they were tight. They were little, really little. And I was permanently in fight or flight. I didn't know where I was going to live. I wanted to keep them in our village that is Redbourne. I wanted to continue giving them their life, but I'm fighting with someone that, had already moved on, mistress. They were already having a baby midway through our divorce. Oh my God. You name it, it was thrown at me. And my mother had passed away when I was younger, so my support network, though amazing with my friends, brilliant, felt like, oh my God, I need to kind of keep pushing through, which we do, don't we? We keep, when we don't have a choice, we just keep going. And I just thought, I don't want that for anybody else. I want people to kind of have someone that they can go to for a resource to go, what do I do here? Yeah. The combination of the emotional stuff plus the divorce process in itself is so difficult. And when you marry them together, it seems insurmountable. But there is a way of tackling it. And that is exactly what I teach my clients to do.
That's amazing because it's so overwhelming. It's scary. It's a vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
It's
completely.
Like, and already in my head, like listening to you, I'm like, this sounds so incredible. What a support that is for people. And you don't think about it until
you need it.
Or you need it. Yeah. I mean, I will say all three of us were a little bit like, because we're like to say we're in happy marriages. And I even actually wrote on my notes, I said, if ever my husband, saw on like my bank account that I had your divorce coach as like one of my billings, he'd start to get a bit nervous, So it was like, I was so interested to see how this conversation would go. Do you know what I mean? Because it doesn't even cross our minds, if you like, so.
I think, divorce in itself, I mean, there are great resources out there for amicable divorces, and there are, and maybe there's slightly more difficult divorces in that, emotionally it's quite hard to let go of the future that we had anticipated, but this is on a different level. This is warfare, right? This is the narcissist you will not win. You don't play the game, but there's a strategy that you have to employ depending on the type of narcissist that you're dealing with. And again, that's just a vast majority of the skills that I teach my clients. One of the key things we do is called an onboarding session with a client. And it's an hour long, and it's not just about setting up their strategy or talking about where they are in the process, but one of the key things is profiling. So if you're sort of aware of the world of narcissism, there's covert narcissists, which are kind of like the hidden ones, and there's the Darth Vader, which are the real malignant. There's all sorts of names. There's the leech narcissist, which I've labelled, which is the money orientated. They literally suck you dry. You're there as a sort of a golden goose, as it were. But you need to profile them so much more than that. It's the real nuance of what that particular narcissist has, and you analyse that nuance by analysing the relationship, the behaviour. So we talk about that in that real onboarding, because you could have a covert narcissist where it's not really about the persona, but it's more about money, and they have a certain way of abusing you. And that strategy that they've employed in your relationship is pretty much the strategy they're going to employ in the divorce. And it's teaching my clients that, and that awareness. And that's really a lot about what I help my clients with. We feel so like underwater, like it's, I don't understand it, I can't see clearly, I don't know what they're doing, what are they going to do next? And when you raise that knowledge, that awareness, you can almost feel they can breathe again. It's like, I get it, it's just a big game, isn't it? It's just a game that they are playing. And that is what we do in one of the key sort of things for like onboarding, but bringing that big bubble of knowledge to them.
Fascinating.
And I guess it's like, I feel like, I mean, you will probably correct me, but I feel like I saw a stat very recently that said that it's almost 50% of couples almost now have a divorce at some point. It's high,
really high, and even higher for second divorces, second marriages. It kind of raises to like 85%.
No.
Yeah. It gets more difficult, but you've got to think about, there's potential modern families, especially if there's been someone toxic. It gets harder to, says she who's engaged.
Recently, right?
Yes, recently. 9 years together. I know everyone's like, he's brave. He's marrying the divorce.
Does he know the stat?
Yeah. Bless him. Yeah, he's a brave man. But yes, it is harder. But there's, there are so many different elements of why it would be harder. But yeah, that is, it's a true stat. Yeah.
I just spotted The Ring as well.
I know. I'm not going to lie. When I was researching this podcast, I saw a picture of The Ring because I think it's right near the top of your. I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing that under the studio.
For anyone that's only listening and not watching right now, you're going to have to flash it, Noel, because it is beautiful. It's absolutely
don't go.
He did very good. Yeah, no. I'm literally looking at it. It's fabulous. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Well, apart from our magpie sparkles being drawn right to that finger, talk us through the process of setting up your business. Did self-employment come naturally to you?
That's a really good question. I think because I'd started, I think everyone knows, don't they? You never just drop and go, right? You never just leave full-time employment or even part-time employment, secure employment, should we call it, to kind of go for it. And especially because I was a divorcee, right? My children were so reliant on me, so even more pressure. I think I'd always wanted to run my own business. A lot of my very, very close friends are entrepreneurs. And I think the ability to have more direction and more freedom about my life was something that I really, really, really wanted. Sitting behind a desk and doing the legal thing was just not my thing at all, but I needed it at the beginning for security. And I think when I started a little bit doing the part-time, and then when COVID happened and I could see that it was being monetized and working, I think, it did come naturally. I can't even imagine what it'd be like sitting behind a desk right now. Like, it's so not me. But I love it. I think it is something that I naturally evolve into. Yeah.
And did you learn anything about yourself during your narcissistic, toxic relationship that you've come through that you were able to develop that into a superpower that's helped you grow your business?
Resilience. Yeah, resilience and encouragement and increased empathy and understanding, and pushing through and just keep going. I think strong is probably one of the words that people associate me with. Certainly in my divorce, I remember everyone was just like, she's so dignified, she's so strong, and those skills I kind of I think push or allow me to keep that foundation in my business. So I think that is probably one of my big qualities, I think I'd say.
And also a perfect time to bring up the fact that you're wearing a t-shirt that says woman up.
I know, right?
If anything says strength, it's that.
Living for it. Absolutely. So from an industry point of view then, how do you feel the challenges? What do you face when it comes to your industry at the moment?
I think, you've seen you've got to choose a platform, right? And my platform is kind of Instagram. I think if there's one thing that I find tiring is keeping up with the momentum that changes on social media and what is working and what is not working. And I do all of my own social media. That's just me. That's me on my own doing it. I think a lot of people trying to use like PR people or, social media agents. I don't. It's all me on my own. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to kind of keep up to date. And you can't be across loads of platforms either. You've got to stick to one thing. I think it's becoming even more popular now, sort of divorce coaches. There's kind of a sense of competition, but competition is healthy and that's great. But yeah, just keeping abreast of everything and handling, I think, is probably one of the things. Yeah.
What are some of the common misconceptions about your role as a divorce coach?
That I can be your lawyer.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of, and I always end up by saying, if I was going to be your lawyer, then I would set up a law firm and that's what I would do, and I can't, and that's not what I'm there for. I get asked that question a lot. Also, are you sort of like my counsellor? I actually, if I think a client needs counselling, I'll direct them to counselling. But I am there definitely for emotional support, absolutely 100%. There are some emotional aspects of my work that I think they feel, especially because I've been through it. I think that's the other thing, that connection.
Empathy,
that connection of, you understand, you get it, you've had children, you try to co-parent, there's counter-parenting, all of that. They kind of get, but yeah, I can't be your lawyer, I'm afraid. Nor can I be your mediator either. Or they come to me and they say, oh great, can you be our divorce coach? No, I can only be your divorce coach. Or yes, can you be our mediator? Or can you, yes, be my lawyer? Can you handle the whole thing? I mean, I do, certainly for a lot of clients that are self-representing, I do a lot of work with them because, I am a lawyer. They obviously tell them it's not, not legal advice. But so that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions.
Gosh. Oh. So what do you love most about the work that you do?
Honestly, helping people. It really is that. I get such a buzz from, thank you so much. Thank you, I understand my children better. Thank you, I'm not scared of him and her anymore. Thank you, I can breathe. Thank you, I know I'm going to live. You understand me, just listening to me. I feel more empowered.
These are amazing.
I do. I can't explain it. It is difficult to explain. It's euphoric, that feeling to help another human being. And I think that is 100% directly related to feeling like I had no one that really got it and understood it. Trying to explain my ex-husband's behaviour to people was difficult in itself. Again, the word narcissism wasn't really out there. He was just seen as kind of difficult or, oh God, someone that's done X, Y, and Z. But I think it comes from that place, and to be able to really change even just one person's life. I have so many wonderful stories. I think one of the first stories I got back was I was helping a male client. I help men and women, that's the other thing. A male client that came to me, and we helped to get access to his first born son from a previous relationship. And he sent me this amazing email to say, thank you so much for just letting me have a wonderful relationship with my son. I can't tell you how much it means to kind of be able to bond with him and have access to him and to be able to be a real dad to him. And I'm like, oh my goodness, just that in itself was amazing. And that to me is like, if I've done that once, that's enough. Yeah. But the fact that I get to do that with my clients is brilliant. But it's not just that, actually, it's my presence on social media, because not everybody has the ability to employ, let's be honest, right? It's to be able to employ a divorce coach. There are monetary restrictions, especially if you're going through a divorce. And just the feedback that I get from my followers, I hate that word sometimes, but people that follow on social media, thank you, that made so much sense. Oh my God, I get it now. Or, I was wondering what it was. You've explained it so brilliantly. I'm not going crazy. I'm sending your video, your reel to a friend. They now get it. That is the feel good factor. Like, you can't buy that. That's just amazing. I love it. Yeah.
Are there any of your services that you offer, like a particular thing that's in your service list that you wish had been around when you got divorced?
All of it. all of it, literally all of it. I mean, like I said, I was a lawyer, so I created my own divorce deal. I used my skills of knowing my ex-husband incredibly well, and I knew his particular nuances, that when it came to my second hearing, I looked at my barrister and went, I need you to go to the room and I want you to offer this. And she kind of looked at me going, that's not going to work. And I was like, no, it's going to work. She was like, okay. And then she came back and she went, okay. And literally 4 minutes later, she went, he said yes. And I said, I know who's going to say yes. So,
Wow.
yeah. And so that teaching my clients, plus the emotional support, plus I'm having difficulty with my children. They don't want to go and see the mum or dad. How do I cope with that? You know, all of that. And I've had to learn that. And I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes with my own children. I've had to, practice what I preach, teaching my teaching my clients about, when a child comes back from contact, not quizzing them, allowing them to transition, arguments that you can have about clothes that come back and forth. I've done all of that. And I wish that there was someone that I could go, so I'm having this. So the clothes don't come back. So what do I do? And just now to be able to go, don't worry about the clothes.
Yeah.
Let's work around that. Let's just don't make it an issue. And that guidance, I wish I had someone that I could talk to.
Yeah.
Actually, there's when I was doing some research on you for like the questions for today, one of the things that I found on your website is a whole load of resources for people going through this, sort of like because you've got some free PDFs on download.
Wow.
And there's this excellent one on how to talk to your kids at, I mean, not specific ages, but how to talk to your kids without victim blaming or whatever.
Yes.
And it was a really interesting read, and these are all available for people on your website.
Yes, absolutely.
Aren't they?
Available on the website or linked through on my Instagram. But yeah, I like to make my kind of resources available. But that's one of the key things actually is being able to, especially when it comes to the word narcissism, you do not tell your children that they have a narcissistic parent. Yeah, we do not do that. We do not involve our children in that arena. That is an adult arena. And our children love that parent, whatever their personality trait is. We're talking about narcissism today, but there's loads of different personality traits that a parent may have. But that is not the sphere for a child to cope with. That child loves, biologically wired to love that parent. But it's about maybe giving that child an explanation that they can understand as to why maybe there are some limitations or some restrictions around that other parent. So that's why I made that PDF. It's kind of using the, that's, I think, one of the key sentences in that is, a child might say, why did mummy or daddy lie about that? Or why did mummy and daddy do this thing? And rather than, kind of unpick it or try and explain, it's more of a, mummy and daddy's brain sort of thinks differently sometimes. So it's actually teaching that child, do not take responsibility for that action, because otherwise you're offloading, aren't you? You're supposed to release all of that, and just give them this, sometimes our brains think differently. In our home, our brains, we don't think in that way, but this person thinks in that way. So it's kind of an understanding, and they're appreciating that parent is different, but we're not talking about them in a negative way. Yeah, that's one of the that's why I created that, because that can be such a minefield. The child thing is so hard. Yeah.
I think just probably a good time actually just to mention your website for those people who are listening going, where is that information?
Yeah, so it's www.yourdivorcecoach.org.uk, and then I'm on Instagram, your_divorce_coach. I've also just set up a membership.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, on Patreon. That's in my link tree. It's like a hub. It's like it's content. I put up videos on there, audio, documents, how to fill in court documents.
Ooh,
brilliant. that in itself, simple things like that you think, where can I go to? It's a library, it's a hub of information. And it allows me to talk more in depth about the stories, because Instagram stories are great, but it's not long enough, not unless you're on there like sort of all the time. But it gives me a platform where I can do much more sort of longer videos about certain subjects. So yeah, that's how you can access me.
And both of those are linked right in the top of your menu as well. So they're
all
direct on the homepage.
Yes.
I mean, I met you 5 years ago now. I know. Isn't that crazy? Where's the time gone? But at the time, you and I were kind of in a co-working together where it was wonderful. And the great thing with that was we were able to bounce off each other. And at that point, I remember both of us were like on our socials and we were like still learning, weren't we?
Yes,
and it was all like, but you've always actually been so good at your socials. I was always very impressed. And one thing was you were never afraid to show up. And that's what I know a lot of people, and I coach people with their own social media and getting visible and being on the right platform, because sometimes people need their handheld.
Yes.
But you've always kind of taught yourself, haven't you? Because I mean, you're at nearly 100,000 on Instagram alone.
Nearly.
Just a few more followers. Yes, please.
Everyone press the follow button. The follow button.
Where's that? What's that at handle?
Your_divorce_coach. Yes, I have, and I think like I said, it came from COVID. I think if you go back into my Instagram, you'll see me in the garden. Do you remember we're all at home?
Oh, we've dealt. We have dealt.
Have you seen the hair and it changes and the legs? It's a history. It's a history. And I just launched. I just went out there, and I think back then, Instagram. Instagram was like this new platform, and I think you knew that you had to kind of like promote. I think I knew that. Talking about it, because that's my big thing as well, always talk about it. There's no shame in what's happened to us. We have to talk about it. That's how you get sort of that community feel, and you feel better. Me too, But yeah, I've always shown up, always. Visibility has always been my thing. Consistent. I think that's another sort of key word that people would say about me. I am consistently on there, even on my holiday. And then I get my friends going, get off Instagram, have a holiday. But yeah, it's so important to connect with people. And, if you want to talk about sort of, products and services and why people sort of purchase, it's not about your product it's about you. They want to connect with who you are and your story. And I don't think enough people understand that. People come to me because they hear what I say and they see that genuineness. They understand that I've been through it. And that's why they want to talk to me. It's not necessarily about like the package or of course it's about they know that I'm going to help them, but it's more about I hear you, you hear me, and you get me, and that's why I want to work with you. And I don't know whether enough people get that.
I think it's one of those conversations that because all three of us have branding at the heart of what we do.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation that comes up constantly, and we're like, you need to be visible, you need to show up, you need to get out there. And I mean, the one big piece of feedback that I always get is, I don't feel confident. I haven't got the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
And as someone who's out there and grown almost 100,000 followers, tell us, were you always confident in front of the camera, or is it something that you had to work through or
get over?
Yeah.
No, I still feel like an idiot, like totally. Oh God, I have to redo sometimes stories like 10 times. I'm like, oh my God, that's just ridiculous, or oh, that didn't make sense. I'm not confident. I just imagine that I'm just talking to myself. It's just me and this thing. And I think there's almost like a safety blanket with stories and reels, because it's just you. I find this more daunting. I do. Yeah, 100%. I find a podcast more daunting. I find doing an interview on radio more daunting. I find my Instagram my safe place. And actually, if there's something that would encourage someone to be more visible, it's to maybe have that view on it. That is, and that's me. But I think it's just because it's me and the phone, and it's a bit safer. But yeah, I just do it. I just keep going. I just see that everyone's more natural. Be yourself. Don't be anyone. Don't try and be anyone else. Just be you. And I've also I'm in my gym gear half the time.
Same.
Like some days my hair's all like messed up, and I'm like, I'm sorry. This is what I look like, or I'm just like, I've had a bad day. People love that, because you're real. You're not like this unachievable, unattainable person. You are a real person having gone through the same thing. You are like me. Therefore, I can come and talk to you. But I just do it. Just show up, and don't think that there's some secret way of doing it. Just be yourself. Pretend you're talking to your friends. Friend, partner, anyone really. Yeah.
And we've got a lot of wonderful aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening and watching, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm either wanting to get into business, I'm working, I've got a side hustle, or maybe they're just starting out. What would be your advice to those aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
I think, like I said before, the whole jumping from especially depending on what your situation is. I think there are some people out there that are lucky enough to have a position where they can give up their job and then go for it. There are some that don't. Like I wasn't in that scenario. I think find a safe a safe place where you feel really comfortable to make the jump. Don't make it unrealistic. That's why I kind of navigated my way from making sure I had a secure base working. You know, at one point I was earning more as a divorce coach than I was as a lawyer. And then I was like, right, now jump. Yeah, in COVID I was working 2 jobs. Like, you know, it was at the times where I wasn't doing my in-house legal counsel, I was doing this weekends on my Fridays off, and I was managing both. But I think you just need to find, it's gonna be slightly uncomfortable. It's never, you know, there's going to be an element of risk there, but if you don't jump, then you haven't learned, you haven't grown. That's your growth. But yeah, I think you just need to find that space, understand where your line is, and then just go for it.
So also a little bit more advice for our aspiring business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, anyone in the business scene. How might we spot a narcissist in the business world? So what are some common business behaviors, and what are some of the in industry red flags, like in general, rather than specific niche industries?
I think they're the same red flags as the relationship. So narcissists, you know, the common lack of empathy, not taking responsibility, maybe stealing your idea as their idea is probably a very typical workplace one. Not allowing you to grow, keeping you contained in your space, placing lots of restrictions, or this kind of making you feel like you can't speak or explain yourself, and keeping you kind of locked down, I think is probably the best way to describe it. Not progressing your career in the right way. It's lack of empathy. Them being super grandiose, not giving you any sort of limelight. Those are kind of like the baseline of all those normal narcissistic red flags. You'll find them also in the workplace. Funny enough, someone said to me the other day, please can you do a piece on narcissism in the workplace and what we need to do? And my guidance would always be, you know, write everything down, anything that happens to you in that workspace, write it down, seek help, find out about narcissism a lot, see if you can identify, place as many boundaries as you can, healthy work boundaries, and also, and this is the really hard one, leave. I know, and that's, you know, a lot of people may be listening going, what? That's just, why would I do that? To think that you can beat a narcissist it's not like that. If you try and enter warfare or try and kind of, you know, stand up to them in a really aggressive way, that's never going to work for you. It's going to be really, really, really difficult. So that last bit of advice is, if it gets really, really hard, you may want to think about potentially going somewhere else.
All the reasons I wanted to be my own boss.
Like, totally, right? Totally.
And I left my last business.
Because, well, there you go. Because, you can't, you think, right, I'm going to be just as strong. All the narcissist's doing is like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Especially if they're in a sort of high position than you, right? Someone that you're reporting into, that's even harder. So yeah, don't battle. And that's what I tell my clients. We are not battling here. We are not entering into I'm going to beat you. Actually, it's a key strategy. We're not beating them. We're not beating them. That's not part of our strategy. We are trying to exit in the safest way possible for you.
So
excellent. True. It's like, sorry, I just feel like my life just flashed before me.
I can literally hear that. I can hear this resonating with you. So we have a little quick fire round that we like to do with all of our guests. Do you want to hit these ones?
Yeah, let's go for it. So tell me, what is your best business accomplishment?
Ultra high net worth clients, like famous people.
Oh, I mean, clearly you're not going to be able to tell us.
I can't say.
But,
that damn NDA.
Client confidentiality.
I think when that happened quite a few times, I think there's a moment where you kind of just go, wow, like literally.
Do you get starstruck?
No, I don't. They're real. Again, it's that
they're people.
We're real people. I think I came to a point where I didn't quite realise the extent to which my business was, really helping people. And I think when I heard it from these ultra high net worth, important, very visible people, I was like, wow, yeah, that was probably
Love
that.
Totally.
Did you celebrate? Like, what did you do to mark that feeling of I made it?
I didn't. I don't know. Dance or something. I didn't.
I did a happy dance.
Yeah, again, it's just, oh man, I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful. I really am. It's nothing more than that. Just really, really grateful. And then, had to modify a particular app or website that I could no longer use because of, you know, the business they were in. But I just very happy.
Amazing.
I think it's our fault as well, but we've kind of jumped off being a quick fire round.
I know, I was
sorry,
gonna say,
that's not word. That's
Not
not
your
word.
fault at all. Completely our fault because we got completely like, oh my God, we got starstruck. Anyway, back to quick fires. So tell me what your best productivity hack is.
Oh, this is hard because I think I've got slight ADHD traits. So, best productivity. Oh, just what does that? Eat the frog? Is that the one? Yeah.
I don't know this one.
I'm a procrastinator. I can be. Like, I've got a book that's coming out, and my wonderful ghostwriter's like helping me, and it's there. And have I looked at it? No, I have not. I am not practicing what I preach. Just do it. That thing that you want to do the least, do it. And when I practice that, I'm like, oh man, why did I put that off? Yes, the least thing that you want to do at the beginning of the day.
Eat That Frog, by the way, is an incredible book. I cannot remember the author.
No, I
find
can't
it and put
either,
it in the show notes. But Eat That Frog is all about doing the one thing that you absolutely don't want to do and keep putting off.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
Right. Definitely. Okay, I'll look into that. And tell me one thing that the internet doesn't know about you.
I was in a toothpaste advert.
I mean, you do have perfect teeth, I have to say.
This is you're going to try and Google this.
I am. But
Connor's already doing it, I'm sure.
This is the slowest quickfire round ever because the answers you've given are amazing. Go on, tell us about the advert.
The thing is when I was on maternity leave and I was a law lecturer, I was doing lots of little things and do you remember when you used to do lots of marketing and they used to say, can you come and do some marketing answer questions? And then from this was we're also doing an advert for teeth. Would you be willing to do it? And I was like, okay, why not? Yes, it's really embarrassing. And I think it went, is it Asia or worldwide? Yeah, it was. I mean, it was for Sensodyne.
Wow.
Was it for Sensodyne? Yeah, just
love
that.
It.
It was. I mean,
famous teeth.
got really curly hair, and it was a thing. It was a thing. It's fine. That's more of like a what's your most embarrassing moment rather than what does the internet not know about you?
Well, do you know? Because the next question is that we have an internet search history question, and I kid you not, I scrolled back. We were talking about this the other day. I did not find the toothpaste advert.
Yeah, it's hidden, well hidden.
But I did find in 2018 and around that time, I noticed that you modelled for several St Albans fashion weeks. Some excellent stuff in there. What fashion trend are you loving right now?
Gosh, I'm the joggers, trainers, kind of with a t-shirt look. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always like looking on Instagram for like what's the new kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of my look at the moment. I think that's
And you pull it off well. You look fabulous.
Isn't it exhausting keeping up with like what is the especially as you get older? I'm like, I'm 46. I'm like, can I still wear that? Is that still okay?
Yeah, but low-waist jeans are not coming back for me. Like,
low-waist jeans are not coming back. Like,
No.
and it's you almost. I cannot believe I'm putting high-waisted. Everything's high-waisted.
Yeah.
Security.
I love high-waisted. Hide my mum belly.
All about the high-waisted. Yeah, totally that.
So if somebody invested £50, put it into
£50.
Wow.
Well,
£50.
£50,000. Let's get it right here.
Yeah.
If somebody invested £50,000, put it straight into your bank account, what would you do with it?
I would offer a service for my clients where I could go pro bono. So that means free.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah, because
Love that.
again, there is a whole category of people that simply can't afford it, which is why I've done the membership really cheap, £13 a month. That's why I do my free content. It's to allow people to get access to advice, and there are men and women that are being abused physically, emotionally, psychologically, have children and cannot access help. And legal aid lawyers, are fully booked. It's difficult. There's a cap on how much they can spend, and to be able to help someone that is so stuck, and the only reason they cannot get help or cannot get out, and there's the impact on children. That's kind of my driver. That what will it do to this child if the mother or father can't get out of this situation? So I'd love to be able to have a selection of time and a budget to be able to help those people that can't afford it.
That's one of the best answers I think we've ever had on that
thank
question. You. I really love that.
I do dream about winning the National Lottery and doing that. Totally.
I genuinely hope someone is listening right now and is like, I've got a spare 50 grand or more in the bank
invest
account.
that for that reason. Yeah.
That's wonderful. We are here to people as humans, we have to help other humans,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise, when we're on our deathbed, what is it? What is that thing that you did? And I'm so happy and grateful that I can say, if I helped just one person to change the course of their life, then that I'm all good.
It's that legacy, isn't it,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you leave behind? Yeah. Love that. So what does the future look like?
Wedding planning. My partner and I had to go out to dinner. I was like, we have got to fix the date. What does the future look like? Podcast series. Dun, 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 dun.
Ooh, I love this.
Talk about that later. Yes, my book.
Amazing.
Growing my membership, and just continuing and doing what I can do. As long as I'm able to be in this wonderful, happy place, then I am really, really grateful. I'm, taking my business. My boys are going to get older. They're going to go to. I've got one son that's kind of doing GCSEs, and my 12-year-old is older. And the ability to then travel with my business is kind of like the next thing. Being mobile with that. But just keep doing what I'm doing.
Incredible. And if there was one last piece of information that you'd want to leave our readers and listeners, listeners and viewers, readers, yeah, we also transcribe this. If there was one last piece of wisdom you wanted to share, is there anything that you would love to say to them?
Yes, knowledge is power. We are often frightened, anxious, we procrastinate, we don't take that next step, we stay stuck, we continue being abused emotionally, psychologically, physically, because we don't know what our next step should be, we don't know what it looks like. If you have that knowledge and accompanied with the ability to face that fear, you can dramatically change the position in which you're in right now.
Amazing.
And I was just going to say, let's just remind everyone again, I know we've mentioned it, but just how everyone can find you and reach you if they're looking for your wonderful services.
Thank you. So yes, www.yourdivorcecoach.org.uk, and then on Instagram, your_divorce_coach. Actually, I forgot. Yes, also Facebook. I've got 2 groups, one for men, one for women. If you go on Facebook and type in Your Divorce Coach, there are communities where people talk, and there are groups where you can sort of talk to other men separately and women separately. And that's the other place you can find me.
Fantastic.
Incredible.
Thank you so much.
You for having
what
me.
A great first episode of the season. Honestly, it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And honestly, thank you everyone that's joined us today, both viewing and listening, and even maybe reading.
Yes, just in case.
But thank you so much for coming back for season 2. If you actually haven't heard season 1, maybe you want to go back, check on Spotify, YouTube, all available platforms. But we've had a wonderful time, and we've got a fantastic guest next week. So next Wednesday, we're actually going to be speaking to somebody that we've actually worked with as well, which is really nice as well. She's one of our clients.
She is.
So really excited. So stay tuned for next week's episode. We'll be here. Conor will be here, hiding in the corner.
I'll be here apparently transcribing our podcast. And if you have been affected by anything that we've spoken about today, we will make sure that all of the links are in the show notes. We are so privileged that you've been here with us today. We can't wait to be back with you next week, and we will see you very soon for another dose of Badass Boss energy.
See you then.